Welcome back to Mark Holubus Vlog, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Quick little channel update, and the point that I want to just talk about very, very briefly today, and if I can only take a few minutes of your time, really is just to talk about, I know there's a lot of people that counter, we own the F Type here. Love the car. Nothing like it. And when I get in a lot of the videos on the other channel, Exotic Car Play Place, we talk a lot about reliability, durability. We also talk about fun cars. Of course, life's way too short to drive boring cars, so why would you? But with that said, we're always talking about Lexus reliability and BMW and the failures that they often see. As you can see right here, we have a BMW parked right in front of us right here. Clearly, these don't come without some sort of an issue. But at the end of the day, it's more than just the ultimate reliability. And a lot of people question and say, well, if you're always talking about reliability and you're critiquing the fact that BMWs are leaking coolant and, you have issues with Audis and burning oil, and you have, all these other different branding issues. Everything, every brand sort of has its Achilles, if you will. And honestly, Jaguar is no different. I personally think that there are problems with these cars, and we'll talk about more of those in weeks to come. And of course, some of which we already spoke of in previous videos. Some of which are electric gremlins. The auto start-stop business sometimes is glitchy on these. Low voltage can really wreak havoc with that. Of course, lots of problems with fitment issues, squeaks, rattles. Of course, we have problems with the hood sometimes not getting aligned properly. You hear a lot of people talking about issues with, fuel injection and specifically to the injectors themselves. We also talk about the rear differential on some of these cars. We know that if you don't clean the oil regularly, if you don't check the vent, you could have problems. I mean, these definitely don't come without issues. Neither do BMWs. The real question is, are they flawless or are they not flawless? Driving a BMW often is a great driving experience. Depends if you buy the right car. The modern day BMWs with the B58 and the turbo inline 6 are actually a fairly reliable car, relatively speaking. I mean, some of them are known to consume a little bit of coolant. For some reason, they're disappearing. Don't know where the antifreeze is going. But generally speaking, a lot of the B58s are actually a pretty solid engine so far. A lot of people ask me that question, and really that's the only way I can summarize it. And if you're looking for a modern day BMW, I would honestly say go with the B58. B48's not a bad option if you don't mind the 4-cylinder, slightly less jam, but that's a great option as well. And yes, they often challenge me driving the Jag, and they say, "Oh, you're always so critical of driving BMWs," and they're not the worst cars on the road. And then, of course, they throw shade at a Jaguar like this, and they say, well, look, you're driving a Jag. You're one to talk. Right. I'll be the first to admit that these are not flawless cars. These don't come without their issues. I already spoke of some of the mechanical problems you can experience. There's also some of the coolant hoses that are known to split with some miles on them. You can get coolant leaks here. Coolant reservoir issues. Like I said, fuel injection issues, electronics. There's lots of issues that can creep up on these cars, especially once you start packing on some of the miles with these F-Types. But that's not really what it's about. As far as I'm concerned, you pretty much have to accept the fact that virtually every brand, every car manufacturer will have issues. Lexus has issues in certain models. Remember the IS250? That was a flog of an engine as well. Direct injected, carbon buildup, of course, lacking in power. It was a slug. Somewhat reliable, but still a little bit of a spud, if you can honestly say that. Now the 350s are great, but then the 200 series essentially with the hybrid are, there's problems there too. So every single brand has an issue. And the key, what I'm trying to make here is the F-Type certainly do not come without their issues. They certainly do. The point of the whole channel, when I talk about Exotic Car Play Place and life's too short to drive boring cars, isn't about finding the ultimate in reliability. No, it's accepting the fact that every car has its own little nuances, has its own little glitches and hang-ups and issues. And we learn to live with some of those. The real question is, how serious are they? And are those issues enough to offset the fun factor? In my mind, the F-Type is literally so amazing that you will accept some of the glitches and you will accept some of the issues that come along the way. And you will accept, in my opinion, some of the service issues that you find when you take the vehicle to the dealer. And the fact that then they overwrite your software so you lose some of the burble on the exhaust and they don't listen to you all the time. There's issues in driving a Jag. The XF, another model, the XE, also has issue with the infotainment system, but they're a lot of fun. And if you want something a little different, maybe looks at an XE instead of driving a 3 Series BMW. I'm not here to tell you what to buy. I will tell you that I definitely have to balance the good, the bad, with the fact that how does the car actually drive? What does it bring to you as an emotion, as basically as an emotional experience? Because the F-Type drives like a hot rod. The automatic transmission is amazing. This car makes some of the best sounds in the business. And so if it has a few leaks or the odd issue here and there, can you actually live with it? Is it a car that you can deal with? Is it really that big of an issue? And really, it's all about finding that right balance. And that's all I'm saying. The F-Type clearly finds the balance, and that's why that's definitely a car worth owning.